start our media briefing at 10 o'clock. Can we commence? Are we all set? Online, colleagues who are joining us online, we are commencing with our media briefing. Let me take this opportunity to welcome you all here in Pretoria at the GCIS Tshedimosetso Media Briefing Center, and those that are joining us online. You are all welcomed to the NSFAS monthly media briefing on progress regarding the application processes. We made a commitment previously that we will come to inform South Africans about progress in relation to this important task, especially at this point in time of our academic year and calendar. So we are gathered here to exactly do that. We do have the board members that have joined us today, accompanying the CEO, who will be reading the statement on behalf of NSFAS. So without any further ado, may I request that we allow the CEO to come and read the statement, and as we normally do, we'll take questions from the floor and also allow colleagues who are joining us online to do so. CEO, may I request that to come and read the statement.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me take this opportunity to recognize the program director, the board members, Ms. Loelani and Mr. Daweti, who are joining us, all of the members of the media and our stakeholders, as well as all South Africans. As we know, the National Student Financial Aid Scheme continues to play a pivotal role in expanding access to the post-school education and training for South Africa's youth. We are mandated to provide financial support to eligible students at public universities and TVET colleges, ensuring that financial barriers do not prevent talented and deserving individuals from pursuing their academic ambitions. We are dedicated to advancing the nation's development by investing in human capital. Through our bursary and our loan programs, we extend financial assistance to students from poor and working class families, as well as those in the missing middle who may not qualify for full bursary support. We have gone through robust assessment and funding processes, which are designed to ensure that resources are allocated efficiently and transparently in accordance with government policy and the needs of the post-school education and training sector. In this context, we very much welcome and commend the Special Investigating Unit for its recovery of over 1.7 billion from institutions and students. Upon its appointment, the NSFAS board had committed to working with all Chapter 9 institutions and law enforcement bodies in cleaning up the entity and strengthening governance and financial controls. As we move to our 2026 application cycle and update, we are pleased to provide the following updates on the processing of applications for the 2026 academic year, which encompass first-time entering students, returning university students, and continuing TVET students. Now, when we had last briefed the media, we had indicated that about 200,000 students had outstanding documents with the fund. We are pleased to say that about 180,000 documents have been submitted, and our teams at NSFAS have worked around the clock to address these outstanding submissions, which has resulted in an additional 50,000 approvals prior to the closing of the registration cycle. Unfortunately, students do continue to still upload incorrect or unclear documents, which creates a feedback loop between outstanding documents and NSFAS's ability to consider these applications. NSFAS encourages students to send clear, correct copies of documents as has been requested. I'm going to touch on some of these documents just so we create an understanding. So one is that students who are not beneficiaries of the South African Social Security Agency have to submit a consent form, which is used to obtain permission from an applicant's parents or guardians to obtain from third-party data sources to verify their income. We have to have specific requirements on which information is compulsory for NSFAS to obtain for them to deem the form to be valid. In some instances, we find that the consent form would not be completed, or it would be completed for one parent and not both, while both were picked up from Home Affairs and therefore household income has to be checked on both, or the form would be completed by somebody else and has to be checked. NSFAS has to verify income, and then this then leads to the declaration form if the individual the applicant is including is not the parent at Home Affairs. The relationship needs to be explained. The typical mandatory fields which we require obtaining the information from students for are the form being signed by the parent and not the student, the form being dated, some are submitted without dates, an email address of the parent being included, and if the parent does not have one, the space must be completed with the not applicable, and all the fields must be completed. On the declaration form, the requirement for this form arises because the student would have put a different individual on their application than the one that we're picking up at Home Affairs. Generally, this form is required while processing the application and seeing the result from Home Affairs. This form also has to be completed correctly and in full to explain the relationship of the individual and the applicant is putting on the form. In terms of our total numbers, we have now 660,000 students which are approved for funding, 85,600 students who are going through the process of verification, and 21,400 which are still sitting with outstanding documents. We do have rejected applications of 116,000. Of that, 13,000 have been offered loans because they meet the qualifying criteria for loan applications. As we move to continuing university students, we are quite pleased that about 437,000 students have met the academic progression criteria, which is more than 80% of our students, with about 110,000 not meeting the academic progression criteria. We have about 5,000 students who have outstanding results, and these are mainly due to supplementary examinations. Our portal remains open as the supplementary results become available so that we can provide the assessment of those students' funding outcomes in terms of academic progression. For continuing TVET students, we received the results from the 15th of January onwards, and we process within 7 days of receipt. 127,500 TVET students met the academic progression criteria, 79,400 did not, and we have about 4,000 results which are still under review. If we look at our loans, we received about 26,500 loans. About 4,600 met the bursary criteria and were transferred, and about 20,300 did not meet academic or financial eligibility, with a final loan approved of 1,500. In terms of our appeals, students are allowed to lodge appeals should they be dissatisfied with the outcome, either a first-time entering or a continuing student. To date, we've received about 92,000 appeals. We've worked through about 75% of them already. About 10,400 are approved, 3,200 have missing documents, and about 5,400 have been rejected. We would like, if possible, to conclude all outstanding appeals by the end of this week so students have clarity on their funding status. We remain committed to processing all appeals fairly, transparently, and efficiently. We encourage applicants to ensure that their contact information and supporting documents are up to date and to monitor communication from NSFAS on their appeal. All students have a maximum of 30 days once an outcome has been communicated to file an appeal. I'll move to student accommodation. NSFAS recognizes that access to quality accommodation is not only vital for students' physical comfort, but also fundamental to creating an environment that supports academic success. To continually enhance the student accommodation process, NSFAS actively engages with students, institutions, stakeholders, including student unions, and the Department of Higher Education and Training. These ongoing consultations ensure that accommodation criteria remain relevant and that challenges experienced by students are addressed collaboratively. In response to requests from institutions for additional guidance on accommodation processes and requirements, NSFAS has developed guidance circulars to clarify and support these processes. For the upcoming academic year, higher education institutions participating in the student accommodation project will continue to have their accommodation payments managed by NSFAS, while institutions that have historically managed accommodation payments independently will manage their current arrangements during this transitional period. We've received about 194,000 accommodation applications, of which 55,600 have been approved. 90,800 are sitting at institutional review, while about 53,000 are sitting at landlord approval. NSFAS continues to work closely with both institutions and landlords to ensure that timely processing and approval of student accommodation applications, prioritizing the needs and well-being of our students. In light of recent concerns pertaining to student accommodation at the Cape Peninsula University of Technology and other institutions where such challenges may arise, NSFAS wishes to clarify that CPUT manages accommodation independently of NSFAS. NSFAS has, however, engaged the university to understand its challenges, including the well-being of NSFAS beneficiaries, and will support the institution in remedying the situation. NSFAS has designed a robust academic framework which includes accommodation dates, opening, closing, move-in, move-out periods, which is closely aligned with the academic calendar. This alignment ensures that students are not left stranded at any point during the academic year and supports a seamless transition into residence for all eligible students. NSFAS also would like to acknowledge the proactive steps taken by institutions to provide temporary housing for students during this period. We wish to take this opportunity to caution accommodation providers against the following practices. One is housing of students without confirming their NSFAS funding status and then logging claims against NSFAS. Two is relocation of students, at times forcefully, without following due process. NSFAS will take a zero-tolerance approach on these matters. NSFAS further encourages any students who may be facing issues with accommodation to report these to NSFAS via our official channels. As we move towards 2026 rates, one of the key areas addressed is the determination of allowance and accommodation rates for 2026, which are currently under review. Adjustments to allowances and rates are informed by factors such as CPI, student academic progression, enrollment figures, budget allocations through the budget process. NSFAS will make recommendations on 2026 rates once the relevant budgetary information has been finalized, which is also aligned to the national budget process, and as we know, the national budget generally is finalized towards the end of February. As we move to upfront payments and disbursements, as NSFAS had committed at the start of February 2026, 3.6 billion was successfully disbursed to universities for allowance payments, while 679 million was disbursed to TVET colleges for tuition payments. This was in line with NSFAS's commitment to ensure students who qualify for funding have allowances early in the year to support the start of their academic journey. In consultation with the Department of Higher Education and Training, TVET branch in SABC, due to extensions of registrations at TVET colleges, the first disbursement date of allowance to TVET college students is now the 13th of February 2026, with the second disbursement having been added for the 27th of February. There's been no major amendments outside the one I've mentioned to the NSFAS timetable, and we remain on track for all of our commitments as it relates to the 2026 academic year. In conclusion, NSFAS remains steadfast in its commitment to expanding access to higher education and technical training for all eligible South African students. Through our rigorous application processing, ongoing collaboration with institutions, and transparent communication, NSFAS is working to ensure that funding reaches those who need it most efficiently and fairly. Students and stakeholders are encouraged to stay informed via the official NSFAS channels and to submit any outstanding information as soon as possible. NSFAS would like to extend gratitude to all its partners for their cooperation and support through the 2026 application cycle, and looks forward to another year of empowering South Africa's future leaders. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Acting CEO. Just a quick reminder, colleagues, we are back online. Our live stream platform had challenges, but it has been sorted out. So we will then still be able to receive questions online. May I see with a show of hand for any clarity-seeking question based on the statement presented by the acting CEO. Batabile, can you check as well online if there are questions? Okay, thank you very much. We don't have questions as well this side. Let me also indicate that the statement has been shared through all the NSFAS platforms, GCIS platforms. Colleagues can receive the statement there. Also, they'll be shared with the Department of Higher Education and Training platforms. Do we have a hand? Don't? Okay. I think, CEO, we don't have any clarity-seeking hand. I don't know whether you want to have the last word before we close. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. This is one of the shortest media briefing we have ever had as NSFAS. But thank you very much for your time. And as I've said, the statement is already shared on our platforms. We will be available after this media briefing to take any interviews relating to the statement. Thank you very much.